Thank you for coming out. Obviously, it's very ominous outside, dark and stormy, so we appreciate everybody making it out tonight. We have a couple of trustees that are having difficulty attending the meeting or may come if the storms pass. But again, the video of tonight's meeting is being broadcast live on YouTube and will also be available on Facebook and posted to the village website. At this time, I would call the meeting to order and ask Clerk Saladino to call the roll.
Trustee Augustine.
Here.
Trustee Gale. Trustee Katinik.
Here.
Trustee McGee. Trustee O'Brien.
Here.
Trustee Peterson.
Here.
President Kukler.
Here. And one of the items that we're going to start out with is recognizing our police officers for their fine work. But before we do that, we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and hopefully we can get 3 generations, I'll surprise, 3 generations of viewers coming up to the microphone if we can get Ken Sr. to come too and lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance. And so we have Sergeant Ken Ewer, we have Bryson Ewer, who's being held up by his dad, and then Sergeant Ewer's father, Ken, who was with the post office, assigned to the Lagrange office, and just retired after more than 40 years. So first, I guess we'll start with a round of applause for Ken Ewer. And then when you're ready to lead us in the pledge.
Put your hand on your head. Ready? I pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bryson, that was our best pledge to date. You never know what's coming next week's or next meeting, so when you're a Cub Scout or something, you'll have to come back and make sure you still have the best on record. Items on the agenda next or not? Yeah. Next up is what I've just referenced, and that's the employee recognition for our police department. It's really exciting for the board to be able to recognize these 3 officers for their literally life-saving work. As many people in the community know, on May 25th at 10:45 p.m., police officers were dispatched along with our fire department to report of a residential structure fire at the 300 block of South Catherine. Upon their arrival, officers observed smoke coming from the residence. Officer Parker Henderson, who's a recent addition to our force, but Officer Henderson grabbed a fire extinguisher from his vehicle as Sergeant Kenneth Ewer and Officer Casey Gomorzik entered the residence. Officer Henderson proceeded into the residence and engaged in attempts to extinguish a fire located inside the kitchen. Sergeant Ewer and Officer Gomorzik located an elderly resident in an upstairs bedroom and carried her downstairs to the front porch. Officer Henderson exited the residence and then assisted in carrying the victim away from the residence. The victim was evaluated by Lagrange paramedics and transported to the hospital, where the victim and as well as her daughter were both transported and received advanced medical care. If not for the officers' quick and decisive actions, the results could have been catastrophic. Their actions are highly commendable and bring great credit to each personally, to the department, to the village, and really to be celebrated by all of the residents. In recognition of the exemplary service, we, the board, hereby award the Lagrange Police Department Life Savings Award to Sergeant Kenneth Ewer, Officer Casey Gomorzik, and Officer Parker Henderson. This is, believe it or not, Sergeant Kenneth Ewer's third life-saving award. We recommend that the police officers come forward and the chief can present their awards.
Dad, I see what you got.
Thanks again, gentlemen. Great job. I also want, in attendance is all three families, and so I do want to, on behalf of the board, thank you. I know it's hard when your loved one is serving in such a dangerous job, continuously putting their safety behind the safety of our residents, our visitors, and so we so appreciate it, and we know it's some nights it's hard for everyone to sleep. So thank you very much, and we'll give you guys a round of applause too. The Community Diversity Group will host a Juneteenth event at the Lagrange Community Center, 200 Washington, next Monday, June 20th at 4:30 p.m. The featured speaker is Reverend Wheeler Parker Jr., civil rights activist, and special honoree will be Mrs. Renee Hodges, longtime business owner. Everyone's welcome to attend. And I, again, want to thank the Community Diversity Group, the Lagrange Park District, and Sisters of St. Joseph for their hard work. And I know it's going to be a good event. Would you guys like to step forward and say anything, or please do?
Hi, everybody. Becky from Lagrange. So, yeah, we just encourage everybody to come. It's at 4:30 on the 20th because the 19th is Father's Day, and I think it'll be a great event. Reverend Lacey was very involved in planning it. There's going to be refreshments, and look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Thank you. And we recently received a press release about an exciting event. Tomorrow, Tate's Ice Cream Shop is turning 35. So they will be hosting a celebratory anniversary ribbon cutting event at their store. They're going to welcome soda jerks that have been worked in the past 35 years and some that are still working. And they will be thrilled to see all the customers that went there 35 years ago and are now bringing their families. They also are going to have some of their favorite flavors. And we know that a lot of us have loved the triplet chocolate, the Superman, cookie dough, Bordeaux cherries, and they're also famously known for their cookies and cream. So it's my understanding they're going to have their old root beer barrel out, and it's going to be good old-fashioned fun. While supplies last, you can buy a root beer, and you can also purchase a teddy bear for $2. So it sounds like there's going to be a lot of activities for the whole family tomorrow, starting at 4:30 at Tate's. And we want to congratulate them for being a wonderful business in Lagrange. I know when families first come in, it's one of the things they notice. They enjoy it. It becomes quickly becomes a tradition. Moving on, it's my pleasure to reappoint to the board with the consent of the board, to the various commissions with the consent of the board. First, to the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners, Brian Boersma is being reappointed for a term that expires in 2025. To the Design Review Commission, Christine Banks is going to be made chair. Her term currently expires at 2023, and we do have an opening on the Design Review Commission if anybody would like to apply. On the Environmental Quality Commission, Lori Braun has agreed to serve another term, and so her term expires on 2025. On the Police Pension Board, John Peterson will be there with a term that expires in 2025. Peg Peterson's husband, and John's in our audience, and I know he likes the fame and spiritual fortune that comes with serving. So thank you to John. And then on our Zoning Board of Appeals, Anjali Peterson has agreed to be reappointed to a term that expires in 2027. And thank them for serving. Andre's telling me that Tate's is Thursday, so I completely misread my press release. It is Thursday, June 16th. Don't show up for the teddy bears until Thursday. But maybe that'll give them time to get more teddy bears. So sorry about that. Thursday, 4:30. We'll see. Moving on. I know that the pet parade was 2 Saturdays ago on June 3rd. And so it was a great day. Perfect weather. We had both the pet parade and the carnival all weekend. The carnival went off well. I've heard from police chief that for the most part, everybody behaved. And I've heard from Director Jones that it was a financial success for the LGBA. So those are great things. Fun for the whole family. But those don't happen without a lot of work. A lot of work from Public Works that starts at what time, Director Colby? 5 a.m. that day they start, and they don't stop when the parade stops. It goes, and so we appreciate Public Works, police and fire for all their hard work. Beforehand, community development is working, and with the change in the liquor licensing and things like that, I think we had them working almost 24 hours on the days leading up to it. So thank you for all that. There's also a lot of resident volunteers that get involved, and we obviously want to thank them. And then for everybody that comes out, that participates in the parade, it truly is one of the best parades in Illinois, maybe the country, we'll go with that. And it's only because of all the participants, all the people that come and watch. So thank you very much for that on behalf of the board. The Lagrange Garden Club is always, there's so much to make our areas beautiful. They really have been instrumental in planting throughout the downtown. They're a crowning touch to our streetscape. We take immense pride, and we do appreciate their hard work. They're a dedicated group. They continue to make sure that the different flower arrangements are always looking the best. So we appreciate that. And Memorial Day weekend, American Legion has always had a meaningful Memorial Day ceremony. We appreciate that they help the village recognize the immense sacrifice that our soldiers that gave the ultimate sacrifice and their families that have been left behind. We take pride in all the men and women from Lagrange that have served, all the men and women that work for Lagrange that have served, and there's many. And we do take pride in that, and we appreciate all the help that American Legion does with helping us recognize them. Moving on, Pillars, also a great organization that does a lot for our Lagrange. We want to thank them for their efforts in community service. over 8,800 COVID-19 vaccines were administered at their clinic at 27th and Callender. Pillars has made the decision to close down that clinic and shift the vaccine operations to their main location at 110 Callender. We appreciate all that they did. They vaccinated a lot of our employees. They vaccinated some of the board. They vaccinated many of the residents and a lot of the visitors as well as employees. So we appreciate everything that they've done. Last, but definitely not least, is our normal stormwater report, but we have a little change here. Last week, the quarry brought a motion and asked the judge to continue the trial. Our attorneys, and we'll hear from one of the main partners, Dan Stanner, about the motion to continue, argued that any delay is detrimental. Tonight, where we have the storms out there, we know just how detrimental any delay can be. Attorney Stanner did a great job expressing that. The judge, and Dan can explain more, was inclined to grant the continuance, but because of Dan's great arguing, he kept it to I would say, a very short date. The judge continued the trial to September 19th. He's indicated that he's blocking off every day except the Jewish holidays from September 19th to September 30th for the trial. That if a witness can't make it on the 19th, just as long as they can make it by the 30th, he'll accommodate, and there should be no reasons for continuances. Never say never, but hopefully Dan will tell us that he's very hopeful that we will get to trial on September 19th. And Dan, if you could tell us a little bit about what's going on, I think the residents would appreciate it.
Sure. On the 8th, I appeared before Judge Cohen on the quarry's motion to continue the trial. President Kukler also attended via Zoom and conveyed how urgent this issue is for the residents. Judge Cohen, fortunately, has been involved with this case from the beginning. He's attended many settlement discussions. He's invested a lot of time in trying to handle this case, so he was fully sympathetic to the village's position and the fact that we do not want to continue this trial. We want the soonest trial date we can possibly get. But the judge did move it. In legal standards, 60 days is almost nothing to move a trial date. But this is, my understanding from Judge Cohen's ruling is this is really it. That we've got a firm trial date on September 19. And the principal reasons that he moved this trial date are actually good for the village. He wants to see evidence on two issues. Number one, last year, the quarry reported at a community meeting that there was some blasting activity going on in the quarry because they were expanding their stormwater detention ponds. Not coincidentally, that's what their own expert has recommended that they do to accommodate the increased stormwater expected from our development. The judge is very interested in finding out if, in fact, the quarry has implemented the recommendations imposed by their own expert. If so, there's really not a need for a trial. There's no problem. The quarry has sufficient capacity to handle the increased flow of water. The other issue is maybe even better for us, and that's that the judge really wants to hear some evidence about exactly how much money the quarry has made since they cut our pipe in 1992. That's 30 years of mining, not just above ground, but now underground. And my point to the judge was, if you're going to move this trial date, we are going to get this evidence to show that they've made probably, just a guess, but after 30 years of mining, it's likely to be hundreds of millions of dollars that they've made over this period of time. And therefore, it's almost no imposition at all to require them to implement the solution that their own expert recommended. And so the fact that the judge was very interested in creating a window to more fully develop that evidence, I view as a real positive for the village. It's getting additional 60 days on our trial date is a small price to pay if we can develop this evidence and present it to the judge.
And then, trustees, if anybody has a question for Dan, I'd welcome it. Seeing none, we appreciate it. We as the board know that your team has the village's best interest in mind. We know that you're putting the best case forward, and although you indicated that there may not be a need for trial, we don't expect the other side to agree, and there will be a trial on September 19th. We know you'll be ready. We will go into closed session in the August meeting to just discuss really the finer points of how everything's going to go in so that the board knows prior to trial. But we appreciate you coming out today to address the residents, many of who would be here if not for the storm. They need to obviously take care of their houses, and we understand that. And it's, again, always a priority of ours. So thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Lastly, we again were able to recognize 3 officers. They acted because they were on duty when the call came in, but all of our officers are ready to act like they did. And really all of our employees, day in and day out, do a great job for us. And so the board is in the process of formalizing an employee recognition program. We expect to get that done this summer. We're looking forward to being able to recognize all your teams for their very hard work. And so we'll have more of these recognitions in the future. So I look forward to that. With that, I would ask if there's a village manager report.
Thank you, President Kukler. The last day to accept voter registration or transfers of registration for the June 28th gubernatorial primary election is June 12th online. You may register to vote online at the Illinois State Board of Elections website with your driver's license or state ID, or if you think you may already be registered to vote, you can check by using the State Board of Elections voter registration lookup. Residents may also register to vote in person at one of the 6 Cook County locations or from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays in the administrative office on the first floor of the Village Hall. 2 pieces of identification are required, including one with your current address. All registered suburban Cook County voters may request a mail-in ballot option online at the Cook County Clerk's office. The deadline to apply, including email verification, is 5 days before an election, and applications for a mail ballot are also available at the Village Hall. Early voting will take place June 13th through June 27th at multiple locations throughout Cook County, including the Hotchkins Village Hall. Additional information regarding voting is available on the Cook County website, cookcountyclerk.com. Also, with the hot weather conditions forecasted this week, the village, in cooperation with the Lagrange Amita Hospital, can provide temporary shelter for residents. If you or a family member are in need of assistance, please use the hospital shelter or in an emergency dial 911. More information is available on the village website. Thank you.
All right, and first I'm going to ask Clerk Saladino to read the items on the agenda. Then we're going to have a vote on the appointments, 2 votes on the appointments and reappointments to the commissions.
Matters on the consent agenda will be considered by a single motion and vote because they already have been considered fully by the board at a previous meeting or have been determined to be of a routine nature. Any member of the Board of Trustees may request that an item be moved from the consent agenda to current business for separate consideration. Item A, ordinance, release of an easement located at 536 and 610 East Avenue, the Park District of Lagrange. Item B, award of contract, Copenhagen Construction, Inc., Central Business District Streetscape Improvements. Agreement, Construction Engineering Services, Central Business District Streetscape Improvements. Item C, purchase and installation, new office furniture and removal of old furniture, Police Department. Item D, purchase, Public Works Department, fire hydrants. Item E, engineering services agreement, 2022 leak detection survey. Item F, purchase, Public Works Department streetlight poles. Item G, ordinance, disposal of surplus property, Police Department. Item H, minutes of the Village of Lagrange Board of Trustees regular meeting, Monday, May 23rd, 2022. And item I, consolidated voucher 220613.
Thank you, Clerk Saladino, and welcome, Trustee Gale. I know that you were attempting to hold down the house during the storm, and I hope all is well at home.
That is correct.
Good.
All is fine, thank you.
Good, good. What we need next is there's going to be 2 motions for appointments because we're going to separate John Peterson to make sure there's not a conflict with his wife, Trustee Peggy Peterson, voting on his appointment. So the first motion, which we can do by voice vote, would be to reappoint Brian Boersma, Lori Brown, Anjali Peterson, and appoint Christine Banks as chairperson to the respective commissions. So if I can get a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to accept those appointments as stated.
Second.
Thank you, trustees. And I would ask now, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Second.
There was a second.
Second, okay.
Trustee Augustine seconded. Trustee Kotinik, just for the record, made the motion. Any opposed? And that passes. I'm not sure if we'll have his luck with John, if we, hopefully there are no problems here, but all right, moving on. We now will need a motion to appoint John Peterson to the Police Pension Board, and I would allow Trustee Peterson to recuse herself from this vote.
I am recusing myself for this vote because Mr. John Peterson is also my husband.
And then we'll take a motion and a second on this.
I'll make a motion to accept John Peterson to the Police Pension Board as stated in the appointment list.
Second.
Thank you, trustees. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes unanimously. Thanks again, John, for your service. Serves on both the police and fire pension boards, and we appreciate his dedication. All right, at this time, I would ask if there's any comments in the audience on any matters on our agenda. Seeing none, I'll move to the consent agenda and ask if there's trustee comments, starting with Trustee Augustine.
Thank you, President Kukler. As previously stated, I recuse myself from voting any agenda items related to the village prosecutor.
Thanks. And then if we can have a motion and a second on the consent agenda.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
And then, trustees, any comments, discussion, questions? Seeing none, I would ask Clerk Saladino to do a roll call vote.
Trustee Augustine?
Aye.
Trustee McGee? Trustee O'Brien?
Aye.
Trustee Peterson?
Aye.
Trustee Gale?
Aye.
Trustee Kotinik?
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Not seeing any matters under current business, I would ask if there's any public comments regarding matters not on tonight's agenda. Seeing none, I would ask if there's any trustee comments. Seeing none, I would ask if there's a motion to adjourn at 8 o'clock and before the storm rolls in.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, the meeting's adjourned at 8 p.m. I thank everybody for coming out. Everyone be safe. Again, thank you to our staff for all their hard work.